Hi, everybody. Are you ready for our poem this week? Well, guess what? It's not just one, it's two poems because we're going to celebrate President's Day next Monday. And we won't be in school for our Monday poem. I thought I would take two special presidents and put them into one poetry day. So this is President Lincoln by Martin Shaw. He did write a proclamation to help set all men free and led our nation torn by war to banish slavery. From a humble small log cabin to White House resident, we celebrate his birth this month, Abe Lincoln, President. Let's talk about what that means. He did write a proclamation. One of his most famous speeches was called the Emancipation Proclamation, which was a speech where he said to proclaim something. A proclamation means you're saying it. And what he said was there's no more slavery. All people are free. So he did write a proclamation to help set all men free. Now, men doesn't mean just men. It meant men and women and children, because there were slave men and slave women and slave children. And it said, and let our nation, and our nation is America, torn by war. That was the Civil War, because the South wanted to keep slavery and the North wanted it gone. And let our nation torn by war to banish slavery. Banish means to say goodbye forever. You're no longer welcome. So slavery was no longer welcome after President Lincoln made that proclamation. From a humble small log cabin, humble. Remember when we read Charlotte's Web and Wilbur was humble? He was sort of bashful and he didn't brag. So as a humble small log cabin means that it was a small and it wasn't really fancy at all. So from that small tiny cabin to White House resident, he got to live in one of the fanciest places in the world. We celebrate his birth this month, Abe Lincoln, President. His birthday, Abraham Lincoln's birthday, is February 12th, which is this week. The next one is what Washington did, because George Washington, they used to, a long time ago when I was very young, they had President Lincoln's birthday, and Abraham Lincoln's birthday was a holiday, and George Washington's birthday was a separate holiday, and we got 2 days off from school because they were two separate holidays. And in the 1970s, at some point, they combined them and made them one day and called it President's Day to celebrate all presidents, because they said it wasn't fair just to celebrate Abraham Lincoln and George Washington. We should celebrate all of our former presidents. Well, this poem says, What Washington Did by Leland B. Jacobs. Across the Potomac, folks say, George threw a round dollar away. All silvery bright, it flew out of sight and hasn't been found to this day. Well, this is a type of poem called a limerick. And in a limerick, this line and the last line rhyme. Lines 1, 2, and 5 rhyme. So say, away, and day all rhyme. And then lines 3 and 4 rhyme. So we have bright and sight. This is a classic limerick. And this limerick, let's talk about what it means. Across the Potomac is a river. And across the Potomac, people say that across that river, George Washington threw a dollar away. He threw that dollar across the river. All silvery bright, it flew out of sight. So it disappeared into the Potomac River and hasn't been found to this day. Can you imagine someone finding it? That would be a dollar from the 1700s. That would be really cool, right? Let's read it again. Across the Potomac, folks say, George threw a round dollar away. All silvery bright, it flew out of sight and hasn't been found to this day. So you're going to take your two poems now. You can actually cut it out just like this and make it one square to glue into the left side of your poetry notebook. And on the right side, you're going to draw a picture to go along with the poem. Maybe draw a picture of George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. Your choice. Have fun.